Hi everyone, my name is Emily Watson, and for my discussion this week I will be discussing discipline. The article that I found for my presentation is from the SHRM Foundation. The article discusses that the approach to discipline that has been used for numerous years, which includes treating people progressively worse over time will cause them to improve, is flawed in its logic. The article discusses that punishment does not work well for adults in the workplace, as they typically respond to being punished by trying to get by, just like kind of keep going as they were beforehand, get out, meaning that they quit because they were disciplined, or to get even, meaning that they sort of do things wrong but enough to get by trying to get back at their employer for disciplining them. The article then goes on to say that not only do employees not like being disciplined, but supervisors or managers do not enjoy the process either. Making employees become self-disciplined rather than being forced into compliance was a main point addressed in the article. It also provided 4 steps that will help make discipline a more positive process, and these include focusing on the conversation rather than the disciplinary form. So rather than it just being strictly about the discipline and signing a paper and going on about the day, they want to make it more as like a notice or a conversation, or you want to make it a conversation out of it. The next step is to change the name of the disciplinary steps. So the article means to change the name of it to being a notice or a conversation, rather than it saying like, oh, we're going into this meeting to discipline you. They want to make it more conversational like. The next step is giving people a way to clear their record, so not just holding the mistake over their head necessarily, and letting them know that it won't be something that is held against them in the future, as long as they don't keep repeating the same mistake over and over again. And the last step is to stop using unpaid suspensions as a disciplinary form. So they suggest that rather they use a day that is paid to allow for reflection on the issue at hand, and it allows the employee to notice more what they did wrong. Some of the pros of this article was that it discusses taking a positive approach to discipline rather than just using the same method that has been in place for years. This goes to show that just because something has been done the same way for however long that it has been, does not mean that a new approach should not be accepted just because it could prove to be even more effective. Another pro of this article was that it suggests that the use of discipline should be used to treat employees as partners in the discipline process, rather than them being someone who is under the supervisor and just being talked down upon. They want to make it to where it's more of a conversation and that they come to an agreement about the discipline process, rather than it just being them reprimanding them. It also promotes mutual respect to be in place, and it of course promotes accountability on both the employee and the supervisor's role. It's important that both parties of the disciplinary process be held accountable for their actions, not only by those that are around them, but to be self-accountable as well. These are both pros because without respect in the workplace, a working relationship will not be in order, which then would make the discipline process even more difficult, especially if there's no respect. And being self-accountable is a pro because it allows the person to be more aware of their habits, and it will allow them to see where they might be doing things wrong before the use of discipline is even needed. So they can kind of self-evaluate and look at their actions and correct their behaviors before any disciplinary steps should even be taken. Some of the cons of this article was that it makes it seem as though they do not want to use discipline simply because it would hurt people's feelings. Some people respond better to management or supervisors being more stern with them, rather than them being, I guess, more positive all the time and trying to be buddy-buddy per se. Because I know some managers, they don't like using confrontation at all, and they'll try to avoid it at all costs. But some people respond better when managers are stern and kind of bring up what that they need to be doing better. Another con of this article was that it stated that since millennials make up most of the workplace, it is especially important to promote things such as valued partners, mutual respect, and accountability. While all of these are important, and I am in no way saying that a workplace shouldn't have these, the article states that millennials have been coached and recognized for their efforts, even when they are less than desirable, therefore disciplining them does not work. I disagree with this statement and think that millennials respond well to discipline, and the workplace should not avoid using discipline altogether simply because of a stereotype of a generation that is in place. Like I mentioned above, some people respond better when someone is stern with them, while other people like when their managers take a more calm approach. The methods that were discussed in this article can be used in both work and personal life. While disciplining is necessary, a more positive and less strict approach may be more beneficial and show stronger results. I know, for example, at my workplace, discipline is often avoided because my supervisors dislike confrontation and will avoid it at all costs, even if it means not addressing issues that need to be addressed. If discipline is used, it includes write-ups, and from what I have heard about this process at my job, it involves the managers writing up a report of what had happened, having a brief discussion with the employee, and then they make the employee sign a paper that says that they were talked to about it and that they understand why they are being wrote up. It is less of a conversation about what is going on and more of like a, you're doing this wrong, just sign the paper and we're going to go on about the day and we're not going to really talk about it. I think if issues were addressed as more of a conversation and allowed for more of an improvement on behavior and performance, stronger results would be seen. As far as for personal life, discipline could be applied to whether you have kids or animals. One example that I came up with, it might sound silly to some, but one of my dogs responds better if we are calm in how we reprimand him, while my other two dogs do not respond or stop what they are not supposed to be doing unless we raise our voices at them. So I think a calm approach and talking it out could be very beneficial in both the workplace and personal life, and starting to stray from the old approach to discipline might work better overall. But I also think that discipline can kind of be based on the person, because like I said, some people respond better to sternness, some people respond better to being calm, so I think it's kind of a give or take necessarily. This article fits in with the information from this week's chapter, while it also provides new information. The book mentions progressive discipline, which is the process of disciplinary measures becoming increasingly more severe until there is a resolution to the problem, which is exactly what the article says that workplaces should refrain from. The book discusses 3 steps for non-punitive discipline, and this includes offering the employee an informal or rather friendly reminder that a rule has been broken and get the employee to agree that their behavior was inappropriate. After a second violation, it says to hold a repeat session, but have a higher-up manager or a person from human resources present. And lastly, if there is another violation, it says to tell the employee that if they find the rule distasteful, that maybe that they should look for a different job. This is the book's suggestion for positive disciplinary action, and these actions combined with the suggestions from the article could make for a much more effective disciplinary process and allow for more respect and mutual understanding when it comes to understanding and following the rules that the company has in place. For the discussion portion of the presentation, my 3 questions will be within the discussion. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my discussion, and I look forward to reading all of your answers and interacting with you throughout the week. Thank you.